They've left Labour in third place behind the Conservatives and the UK Independence Party. The British National Party won 2 seats in the European Parliament for the first time ever. So let's have a look at the party's share of the vote. The Tories won with 28% of the vote. The UK Independence Party came second with 17%, and that pushed Labour into third with 16%. The Liberal Democrats came fourth with 14%, and the voter turnout across Great Britain was just 34%. Well, the dismal results for Labour put even more pressure on Gordon Brown. Right now, behind me, he's meeting Labour MPs shocked and dismayed by a week of resignations, topped now by electoral defeat. Here's Laura Koonsberg.
There was no putting a brave face on it. Misery for Labour supporters round the country as their losses mounted up. The party of government pushed into third place as its vote collapsed. Right now, the man many MPs blame for at least some of the disaster is locked in a private meeting with backbenchers in Parliament. Even those still publicly loyal to Gordon Brown accept the results were dismal.
I think it's been a difficult time. I think we're going through a difficult time. I think we'll come out of this united and then go on to deal with the issues that are a priority for the public.
Most alarming for Labour was the slump, where they've traditionally held their own. In Scotland, for the first time, Labour lost to the SNP in a European election. The Nationalists jubilant at coming 10 points ahead. In Wales, Labour lost for the first time since 1918, and it was the Conservatives who were triumphant in the Welsh vote.
No longer should people say that there are in politics uncrackable bastions, safe seats where Conservatives can't go. That's no longer the case. And it's no longer the case that people can say that the Conservative Party can't win here in Wales. We have one here in Wales.
And the Tory leader wasn't just celebrating victories in Cardiff today. The Conservatives' overall share of votes only nudged up, but they were the clear winners of this election, topping the poll in every region in England bar one. In that most reliable of Labour's traditional areas, the northeast of England, its vote fell by 9%. And the UK Independence Party gained 1 MEP in the West Midlands, increasing their vote by nearly 4%. Overall, the tiny Eurosceptic party improved their standing, squeezing Labour out of second place.
We came third nationally in 2004, which surprised everybody. They all said it was a flash in the pan, it would never happen again, it was a fluke. And this time we've come second nationally, so we're very, very pleased.
And the crash in Labour support, down 7% in the northwest, allowed the BNP to gain their first footholds in the European Parliament. A seat here for the party's leader, Nick Griffin, and another in Yorkshire and the Humber.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic results for us.
And in the southwest, humiliation for Labour. With less than 8% of the vote, it was a distant fifth behind the Greens and UKIP. The Liberal Democrats, who've traditionally done well there, were squeezed as across the country. Although they gained an extra seat for Europe, their overall share of the vote slipped.
If you look behind the headline European figures, what we are finding doing the analysis is a very, very promising platform for significant gains.
But it's Labour that's been scarred. Tonight, the Prime Minister's meeting with his backbenchers behind these closed doors, desperate to persuade them that sticking with his troubled leadership is better than shoving him out. But more MPs went public today to say they'd rather face an uncertain future without him.
Downing Street denies demanding promises of loyalty from junior ministers, whose jobs were being moved around in a reshuffle today. But one of them resigned, saying Gordon Brown should stand aside.
I was asked if I wanted to stay in government, and if I did, would I give an assurance that I would be in support of Gordon Brown? And I was unable to give them that assurance, and therefore I've not been reappointed to the government.
In the privacy of this cloistered committee room in the Commons tonight, other MPs will echo that, arguing Labour would have a better chance at the next general election with a different leader in charge. But after historically appalling results in these polls, it's not certain a new face would make much difference. Laura Koonsberg, BBC News, Westminster.
So for the first time, the British National Party is now represented in the European Parliament. The party picked up the seats in the northwest and Yorkshire and Humber.